before we get into this story, don't forget to subscribe to the channel and stay tuned for more powerful real-life narratives. The phone rang out of nowhere, sharp and jarring. She put me on speaker. "It's done," she announced. Her tone was playful, almost theatrical, like she was entertaining the wealthy friends around her, whose soft laughter echoed in the background as their champagne glasses shimmered. I could hear the mockery in her voice, feel it pierce through me like tiny needles. I paused, silently counted 1, 2, 3. "All right, I understand," I replied and ended the call. No begging, no confrontation, no emotional display, just quiet acceptance. Inside, nothing exploded. The storm didn't rage. It settled, precise and controlled, because while she thought she had the upper hand, she had no idea what I already knew. The house she constantly flaunted, the property she adored and showcased like a sacred prize. I held the real access, the control. While she was busy putting on social performances, I had been watching, taking notes, identifying flaws she assumed no one could see. By morning, the first panicked outburst arrived. Her father, the house. What did you let him do to the house? His voice cracked with hysteria, sharp and chaotic. I sat at my kitchen table, coffee now cold, observing the flood of notifications. Missed calls, frantic texts, angry voicemails from her and her family. A slight smile formed, not from impulse, but calm certainty. None of this was rushed. Everything had been planned. Her betrayal wasn't loud or dramatic. It wasn't violence or theft, or even lies that could be excused. It was a quiet cruelty that cuts deeper, laughing at me, humiliating me publicly, valuing her shallow circle over basic respect. I absorbed every moment, stored it, waited for the moment it would come full circle. Weeks before, she'd been careless, boasting, texting, showing off to her friends, convinced of her own power. I listened. I recorded. I observed. Every sly remark, every arrogant comment, every careless insult became evidence. And now that evidence had weight. I didn't rush. That was never my nature. I studied the home systems, the surveillance, the way everything functioned, not to vandalize, not to wreck anything, but to understand the structure. I wanted the outcome to feel inevitable. Her friends had no clue. She had no clue. Even her hot-tempered father had no idea that the security setup, the smart locks, the cameras, the alarms, was technically within my reach through permission she'd handed over without thinking twice. By the time awareness dawned on her, there was no undoing it. The following day, she burst into the living room, phone pressed tight to her ear, panic spilling uncontrollably. I sat back, composed, watching her unravel. What did you do?" she snapped. I remained silent. "Not yet." Her father's furious voice blasted through the speaker, ranting about overrides, damages, failures. She stumbled over her words, trying to cover herself, trying to shift responsibility. I calmly sipped my coffee. "You told them," she accused, finally spotting me. "Yes," I replied evenly. "I let the house speak. You created the scene. The rest played out on its own." Her face drained of color. The realization rolled over her slowly, like mist crawling across still water. The locks, the alarms, the cameras, everything she depended on for security had quietly reported back. Every secret she thought was safe had been exposed. Her friends' laughter replayed in her mind, now tasting bitter. The humiliation she aimed at me came back heavier, sharper, and it wasn't revenge that guided me, it was clarity. By evening, the truth was unavoidable. Nothing was broken, nothing physically harmed. But her image, her control, the flawless persona she curated so carefully, shattered. Calls poured in from confused friends. Her father's fury hadn't cooled. Her dominance over her own space was gone. And for the first time, she truly faced me. "You could have stopped this," she whispered. "I did," I answered calmly. From my end, I waited. "You played your role perfectly." Her hands trembled, words failing her. The full understanding settled in. Everything she believed she controlled, status, loyalty, influence, meant nothing against someone she carelessly dismissed. She had underestimated me. Her betrayal had been sloppy, careless, unthinking, and that alone sealed it. Later, she tried bargaining, apologizing, speaking in desperate tones that reeked of regret. I listened without reacting. Her words hovered in the air, fragile and hollow, but I didn't step in. She wouldn't reclaim power tonight, or ever fully. Her choices were final, because she made them knowingly. I didn't ruin her. I allowed reality to surface. And truth, in its coldest form, always outweighs ego. When I finally walked past her, composed and steady, she didn't speak. She didn't need to. The house had already delivered the message. Her laughter had returned to me, and I answered in silence. Deliberate, precise, irreversible. As I left the room, the emotion I carried wasn't satisfaction. It was release. Freedom. Some people engineer their own downfall. All you have to do is step aside and let it unfold. And sometimes you just watch as balance finally restores itself.